What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jordan and I'm a first-year medical student in the state of New Jersey. So it is Monday of my exam week right now, and I just got back from my OSCE. Typically our exams are on Friday, but for like the religious holidays, they moved it to Wednesday of this week, so our possible OSCE days are Monday, Tuesday, and then actually after the exam on Thursday. Mine is Monday at 10 a.m., so it was nice to just kind of get it out of the way. Part of me was hoping that it was going to be after the exam so I could just focus on studying, but I have a feeling Monday was probably the best time because I definitely would have zero motivation to do an OSCE after taking this exam. Thankfully, the OSCE is a little bit lower stakes than the ones in the past have been. We only learned the thyroid exam this block. We didn't really do any more like physical exam skills. So because of that, because the school kind of knows that this test is really hard, just because of how much material is on it, and because we lost 2 days of studying, they actually decided to make this one just like a practice OSCE. Typically we get like a practice OSCE and like a real one that is during our exam week, but like I said, they just made this one a practice one, so not too bad. Wasn't really stressed for it, and it went well. Only had 2 encounters. One was history and physical. Other one was just a history. The one that was just a history, the patient came in with like urinary symptoms, so it was either a UTI or an STD. And then the history and physical one, they came in with like hyperthyroid symptoms, so just asked some questions, did thyroid exam, which was normal, and then basically told them we had to check their hormone levels before we could make any decisions. So plan for the rest of the day is just study a lot. Like I said, we lost 2 days of studying because the exam is on Wednesday this week, so really have to grind for these next 2 days. And thankfully, we have spring break right after this exam, so that's some extra motivation to just put my head down and study as much as possible for these next 2 days. All right, what's up, everyone? It is Wednesday. It's after the exam. So the exam was at 8 a.m. this morning, and it was a bit longer than our other exams. They're usually like 120, 125 questions. This one was 139, probably 4 hours. I think I had like a half hour left by the time I left. Part of the reason it was so hard was there was just so many different topics on it. You know, first 2 weeks of this class was hematology, like bleeding disorders, anemia, that kind of stuff. Then we did a lot of endocrinology, like the adrenal gland, the thyroid gland, parathyroid, bone metabolism, and then the last 3 weeks were male and female reproductive, so, you know, all the hormones associated with that, all the different kinds of cancer, you know, testicular, ovarian, bladder, cervical. Did other stuff like BPH, erectile dysfunction, breast cancer, and then we did a lot of pregnancy too, and a little bit of embryology. So it was a very crazy block, and the exam reflected that. We already had the exam review. The way that my school works is we'll have the exam, and then maybe a few hours after it, you can go in and look at all the questions you got wrong. It gives us a chance to sort of get a general idea of how we did on the exam. You know, you can just count everything up and calculate your score. We don't know like what the pass-fail line is yet, but at least we have a general idea of how we did, and our exam scores usually go up a little bit because they'll, you know, throw out some questions that they deemed unfair or too difficult. So usually your score during the exam review is like your worst possible score. It's really only ever going to go up from there. So I ended up doing fine. I should definitely pass. So it feels nice to just know that I'm fine. I can go into spring break without any stress or anything like that. And after the exam, I'm definitely glad that I had my OSCE on Monday because my roommate has his tomorrow, and he's just like so done. He doesn't want to have to go in and do that, you know, on the day after the exam where there's only like a few groups of students who have to do that. I'll just be able to relax tomorrow, and my spring break technically has already started. Alright, what is up everyone? It is Friday afternoon and I'm packing up to go home. Past few days have been very nice. I've just been able to relax. Haven't had to worry about getting up, studying, anything like that. So I'm definitely going to enjoy my spring break. I'm definitely going to do a little bit of work, just some research stuff, but in terms of actual school, probably won't even think about it until like next Sunday. But I wanted to wrap up the video by talking a little bit about what I do to prepare for an exam. I'll go a lot more in depth in a separate video about how I study and all that, but just for like a bare bones, I'll still do my Anki every single day. Long-term learning is all about spaced repetition, so I want to make sure I'm still keeping up with that even if it's the day before the exam. And then another thing I do, because I can't learn solely from Anki, I have some classmates who they'll go to lecture, pay attention, and then just do Anki, and that's all they need to do, and they do fine on the exams. But I can't really do that. Anki for me is really just like the memorization, but I need to do other stuff to like actually understand the disease processes. The way I do that, I just go over the lectures. I usually never rewatch a lecture, but between going over the slides and then also doing like third-party stuff, watching videos, that's how I can kind of understand the actual like mechanisms and pathophysiology of stuff that's going on. So usually I will make some high-yield notes for every single lecture. That is just by going over the lecture slides, usually like the week after they happen. So like for my week 4, I'll do like my high-yield notes during week 5, and I'll just try to pick out like the most important topics, or making sure that I know the very basics that I need to have down before I can know the details, and going through those and trying to pull out the key information. It's a really good skill, not just for test taking, because we have so many lectures in such a short amount of time that the professors can only ask like 2 or 3 questions per lecture for the exam. So being able to find the most important topics, or if they really talked a lot about this one specific part of a disease or the medications, like maybe some side effects of the medication, just being able to like pull those out of the lecture and know them very well so you'll be able to recognize them on an exam, I found has been really helpful for me. Like I said, it's not just for an exam. That's how clinical practice is too, where you need to be able to sift through a patient's history, their vitals, lab values, physical exam findings, and know what is important and what's not, and what points to a certain diagnosis. So it's a hard skill, but I've been developing it a lot over these past 8 months. And then aside from Anki and notes, the last big thing is practice questions. If you've taken the MCAT or you're in medical school, you know that practice questions are the best way to study, period. It just takes a lot of repetition to be able to read through a small paragraph, look at lab values, do all that in a pretty short amount of time. So just getting that repetition is really key. Also, by doing questions and getting them wrong, actually, you usually remember it better. So just doing as many practice questions as possible, I think, is the best way to study. I like using Amboss and another service that my school provides. It's called USMLE RX. So those, and I'm pretty sure any of the like Q banks, they have what's called a tutor mode, where you read through the question as you normally do and pick an answer, and all of the answers have like an explanation as to what the disease is, talks about parts of the question that point towards the diagnosis, or for the incorrect ones, why they are incorrect. It'll say, these parts of the presentation are in lines with this answer, however, this would rule it out. So I just think that's a great way to learn. By putting these diseases in a clinical vignette, it makes a lot more sense, and you know what to look out for when you're actually on the exam. And that's pretty much it. Between those 3 things, that's been working well for me. I'm sure my study habits are going to change definitely when clerkships start, just because that's a very different phase of medical school. But even in these next classes, who knows, maybe I'll want to switch some stuff up. But so far, that's been working for me. Like I said, I'm going to do videos dedicated solely to how I study, my Notion dashboard, all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to give like a general overview of sort of what my exam weeks look like. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like below and subscribe if you want to see videos like this in the future. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.